So I believe you can get a clear picture of what you truly value by taking a deep look at your finances, which is why I'd like to share with you everything I spent money on to host one of the largest street vaults in the United States, right here in Grand Forks, North Dakota. A street vault I really look up to is Pole Vault Plaza. I talked to Simon, who runs the event, and he told me the first thing you need to do is build your skeleton. The bare bone necessities required to host your event. If you have athletes downtown with a pole vault runway and a pole vault pit set up, you have an event. That's the most important thing, is to make sure that it actually happens. Get the people and the equipment at the location at the date. That is your number one priority. I really took Simon's advice to heart. Logistics are the lifeblood of your event. They are the most important component and deserve all of your time and attention and effort. Once you have your logistics down wrapped, then you can move on and flesh out your event and make it truly special. But first, let's tackle logistics and dive right into the spreadsheet. So let's get into the first big logistical expense. Ultra Athletic Trainer for $690. Oh Lord. Oh dear. Okay, so this was actually so expensive because the athletic trainer was there for 11 and a half hours, and we had a rate of $65 per hour with Alltrue. That was their discount rate. That was the rate that they had also for us putting a banner up and saying a good word about them. So it's hefty, it's expensive. So $700 to have an athletic trainer out, and he was busting, hauling, and no, I'm just kidding. He did not do anything for the entire day. Did not do anything for the entire day. So yes, $700. There is merit in purchasing the insurance, however, because the athletic trainer was not doing anything, but he was there in case if he had to do something, in case if a spectator faints or athlete lands off the pit, or I've done that before. Yeah, that was rough. Absolute nightmare scenario if something like that happens at my event and I'm on the hook for it, which is why $700 is not too big of an expense, actually, really, because if you think about it, if you think about how many thousands or even tens of thousands, $100,000 you could be on the hook for in terms of a big medical bill if something really goes wrong. Because you have to keep in mind that this is not a low risk product. This isn't like we're shipping software that can't harm anybody, and we're not building a social network. We're not building something that's purely digital. Like this is an in-person pole vault event, and pole vault is dangerous. People have literally died in the sport. And so you have to cover yourself. You have to protect your assets. That's why $700 on the Alltrue athletic trainer, unavoidable expense, has to happen. No way really around it without exposing yourself to even greater risk. Moving on to Alaris Barricade. So I actually really wanted to have nice banners up at this event for my sponsors. And so take a look at these barricades. These barricades turned out very fantastic. Look at this. How nice this looks. The skeleton of the event, as we were setting up, we put banners all the way around. And I'll show you these banners. These banners look nice. These nice white banners. I didn't have quite enough to make it all the way around on both sides, and so we went and we alternated, which turned out pretty well. One thing I wish I did is that I wish that I zip tied them down a little bit tighter. I didn't actually zip tie them myself, but I should have gotten out and I should have said, hey, you got to make them tight, because the events that have them tight, they look really nice. I'm going to show you Pole Vault Plaza and look at just how nice their banners actually are. So you can see here when they're zip tied in multiple spots, they're zip tied probably 4 or 5 times on the top here, and then the bottom as well. And that just looks really nice and clean. White looks great. That's amazing. Speaking of Pole Vault Plaza, let's talk about my next biggest expense, which is Lowe's wood for $176. Simon from Pole Vault Plaza got the idea into my head that I need a whole bunch of wood in order to be able to level the runway and have it be properly balanced for the athletes. So you can see at his event, he has these 6-inch pieces of wood underneath the runway. This wood that's underneath the runway that's kind of propping it up, and it makes it so that the back pieces that are on lower ground are elevated to the same elevation as the front pieces. Thing is, we laid out the runway on top of the street and it was already perfectly flat. I actually had my buddy run out and grab the truck and go bring two truckfuls of wood that we were going to use to level the runway, and it just was not necessary at all. We were hauling all this wood, and I did the most labor out of anybody. I was out there with the bandsaw, chopping all these 2x4s into 6-inch chunks, and we didn't use any of it. We did not use a single piece of wood in order to level the runway. $176 down the drain. But we gotta talk about the next expense. Next expense is going to be U-Haul. Now this is absolutely necessary. The event would not have happened without the U-Haul trucks. The only thing that I wish went a little bit smoother is I wish that we got our two 26-foot U-Haul trucks. That's what I wanted. That's what I reserved. But when I went into U-Haul, it turns out somebody stole a truck and was out riding and they never got it back. So I did not have my 26-foot U-Haul truck. I had one 26-foot U-Haul truck and I had two 20-footers is what I had to haul all that pit and runway with. I ended up taking one trip with a 26-footer and two with the 20-footers each. So that's 5 trips of U-Haul. Ended up only costing me $418 total, including gas, which actually is a pretty good deal because this event would not have happened if we were trying to load the pit and runway in pickup trucks. It just would not have happened. So we absolutely needed a big truck to be able to move everything. Just like Simon said, you get your equipment at the location, at the date. Utmost importance. And so reserving these U-Haul trucks so far in advance, I reserved them probably at a month in advance. Unfortunately, I did not account for somebody stealing a truck. But $418 and whatever work it took to get those, absolutely worth it. Moving on to software. Now, I set up a website in order to process my payments, downtownstreetvault.com. Take a look at this website. All right, so if you go into FAQs and you go to registration, this is where you sign up. This is where you can buy some merchandise. And so naturally, this is where I had the majority of my transactions through. I use Squarespace to set up the website and Stripe in order to process the payments. Squarespace, I actually spent so much blood, sweat, and tears into making this website, mostly doing stuff like when you hover over this store icon, it turns white. Kind of like front-end CSS kind of stuff. But the Stripe payment processor, I actually did not have to do anything at all, which was absolutely magical, that it was able to do all the back-end website processing completely without any input from me at all. Literally, you set it up, they send you money, it's super secure. They charge a 2.9% fee, which actually ended up adding up more than I had expected. I spent $130 on Stripe and $150 on Squarespace across 6 months, which is worth it. It's absolutely worth it. I just did not anticipate Stripe being that much. But again, I did not have to set up any back-end payment processing myself. And to be able to pay, you would not be able to pay a developer $130 to set up your back-end. It would just never happen. And so a service like Stripe It's expensive, but it's absolutely worth it. Google Workspace. I also set up a business email, jack@downtownstreetvault.com. That cost me $50 across the course of 6 months. If you add up the two kind of categories of software expenses, email and website, you come out to a total of $330 to be able to host my website and send people emails, which is pretty good. I think it's pretty good. It's really hard to run a business nowadays if you don't at least have a website and an email. And so to be able to get the basic softwares and do it really well, yes, I think that having these fundamental subscription-based services is absolutely worth it. Moving on to LLC. I actually incorporated my event as a business. So kind of the idea is you incorporate it as an LLC, and then if you lose money on the year, whatever you lose, you can actually write off against your income tax. So say you lose $10,000 and your income is $50,000. Now instead of reporting your income as $50,000, you'd able to deduct that $10,000 and you'd only pay taxes on the remaining $40,000. And so at a 26% tax rate, theoretically you would save $2,600 in taxes that you otherwise would have had to pay. But the expense of that is that you do have to keep track of your business expenses, and you do have to take pictures of receipts in order to be able to defend your position with the IRS in March. So in the end, how much money am I actually going to save by incorporating it as a business? I'm not quite sure. We will see. But it seemed like a really cool thing to do, and I'm glad that I did it because it's going to give me a new experience and a new side of accounting that I think is going to be very valuable in the future. Also, USATF. I had a USATF event certification, aka a sanction, and a USATF individual registration. That cost me in total $190. This is sort of the same thing as an athletic trainer, is that if something goes horribly wrong, I'm covered. I cover my assets by having everybody sign a waiver provided by USATF. It's actually a very smart thing to do. $190 in order to be able to save yourself from thousands, potentially tens of thousands. Medical bills can be $100,000. That's something that you just have to do, especially nowadays. Is you just have to you have to protect yourself against worst case scenario. And so I absolutely do not regret the $190 to USATF. And out of these expenses, I'm going to be able to cut the Lowe's. I'm going to be able to cut the LLC. It's not going to come down very much. It's still going to be a grand total of about $2,200. It's going to be like that next year as well for logistics. Moving on, let's talk about merchandise. All right. So I bought t-shirts, and I really wanted to have, if you watched my previous video, you know that I really wanted to have a nice premium t-shirt. And so the first thing that I did is I bought nice Bella and Canvas 3001 t-shirts, and I just wanted to try as many as I could. Actually, I lied. I didn't actually buy the Bella and Canvas. I bought a bunch of similar t-shirts, and I was testing them, and eventually I found Bella and Canvas 3001 to be the best. And so I ordered test samples of that material from different suppliers, and I got the best logo and design out of DTF Center. DTF Center is a company in Texas. They ship very fast, and their customer response team is very receptive. Absolutely would recommend their business to anybody who is designing and ordering shirts. So you can see right here is that once I got figured out, spent roughly $150 kind of just figuring out which t-shirt's going to be the best, and then I spent $600 actually ordering the t-shirts. Unfortunately, only half of my order actually arrived. The other half was delayed due to me missing one of their messages asking to confirm the design. But I got issued store credit for those missing t-shirts, and I will be ordering from DTF Center again next year. And so in total, how much did it cost me to have t-shirts at my event? I spent $150 testing, and then another $60 actually ordering the event t-shirts, and it comes out to $755. Also, I bought stickers and I sold them at the event for $3 per sticker. I spent $48 on stickers from 2 different companies. Office Max took a lot of my money. I made these flyers that I was handing out at downtown locations, bars and restaurants. I also made nice cards that I would give to athletes at any sort of high school or college competition that I would be at. And I bought Michael's note cards. I was looking for black note cards to create a handwritten note and hand to my athletes in the All Van. Did not actually get around to using those, unfortunately. So, total for printing and marketing materials comes to $617. And that's a kind of a crazy subtotal. If you were to run Facebook ads, well, you probably would get more than that pretty quickly, but still. Mocking up a design in Photoshop and posting it online, it cost me nothing, whereas going and getting real physical paper does cost quite a bit. Something to keep in mind for next year is that I really want to advertise online digitally. That's where most people are anyways, and that's where it's going to be most effective, and that is where it will also be the cheapest. Not to say that I won't do in person. I think I will continue to do targeted flyers and cards. I just won't order so many because I ordered over 300 cards and over 250 flyers. That's why this bill is so much, is because I ordered a lot of material. Granted, I did pass it out. I hanged some posters up in gas stations and grocery stores. And again, the downtown bars actually did work really well, so I had a lot of people reaching out to me and asking about the event. But for next year, I don't think gas stations and grocery stores actually get enough attention to warrant the cost. And so I would only do targeted flyers within those downtown locations, and I would pass out cards to athletes early in the season. Okay, moving on to Banner Buzz is the company that I ordered my banners from. I ordered $435 worth of banners from Banner Buzz. That's expensive. Those banners were like $70 per banner. Oh man, that's up there. That's a lot of money. You know what I mean? I take good care of my sponsors, though. I take good care of my sponsors, and I will spend that money. So far, what are we at? $435 in banners, $617 in printing, $48, $755. In total, merchandise was $1,856. Between merchandise and logistics, our running total is $4,070. Now, if you remember, my income from this event was $4,792. And so right now we're ahead. But that's before the last category. And you're going to see where this goes absolutely haywire. Final category. Flesh it out and make it something truly special. Let's take a look at the experience category. This is basically just all the discretionary spending that I put into the event. First and foremost, All Van Hotel. Now, I reimburse elites. I also put a select number of elites within the All Van Hotel. It's the premier hotel in Grand Forks, North Dakota, the only 4-star hotel in the entire state. Started at a group rate of 12 rooms. It quickly ballooned into 11 rooms the first night and 15 rooms the second night, for a total of 26 rooms at the All Van Hotel. I spent $160 per room, which is actually a fantastic group rate. Even so, with so many rooms, the total bill came out to $4,420. Ooh. Just look at it dominate my expense chart. Wow. Yeah, it was a massive expense. I don't know if I quite anticipated just how large that bill was going to be. Again, we're in North Dakota, so it's hard to get up here. So I covered the hotel for everybody. That's really the one expense that prevents me from getting anywhere close to breaking even this year. It's just the 4,000. It's just almost everything else that we just talked about. Everything else from logistics, merchandise, Olive Ann Hotel is even higher than all that. Let's fly through the rest of these expenses. UPS shipping, $73.92. What actually happened is that when I sold those 9 t-shirts, I had 11 left. I did a free t-shirt giveaway. Whoever texted me t-shirt first got a free t-shirt. Little did I know that shipping the t-shirt to these people would actually cost more than the t-shirt itself. And so it was typically a flat $20 for a $20 t-shirt to ship a t-shirt across the country, or just to Minnesota. It was the farthest away somebody was. Yeah, I learned my lesson there. I learned my lesson. If you're going to sell t-shirts, don't ship them through UPS. Either order them direct to consumer or sell them in person. You do not want to be shipping t-shirts at low volume. DC Vault. I counted when I registered on the website for DC Vault. That came out to a total of $154.50 to learn a lot about registration. Photographer. Russ Hans is an absolutely magnificent photographer. So I paid the photographer $1,500, $500 up front, $1,000 after the event. Absolutely worth it, because those photos were honestly the highlight of the event. The most important, like, people want to have like a good social media. They want to feel good about themselves and be able to show off what they're doing to their friends and family. And having a photographer there to take really good photos is absolutely central to the event. I also paid a videographer $200 to take some high quality videos. He actually only got, I think, like six or seven videos. They were pretty good. I just had the raw footage is all that he got. And then I made an edit myself. I also bought a handful grip tester for my Hoka challenges. I would get up and I would make fun challenges out on the runway. Whoever came up and do a push-up contest, for example, or a handstand contest, and the winner gets a free pair of Hokas. It was actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing it. So yes, we had $40 for a handful grip tester. I actually never ended up using it. I thought I was going to use it for a Hoka challenge, but I never ended up using it, unfortunately. Badman Design. I paid $1,126 for these trophies, which actually look really cool, but it is a work of art, and they actually put a lot of time and effort into it, and I'm really glad with how the Badman Design trophies came out. I also had some activities. I booked out a Grand Cities pickleball facility for $250. We had roughly 8 to 10 people go out there, and it was a lot of fun playing pickleball. The night before the meet, it was awesome. I had a DJ come out. I paid a security deposit on that. Ended up not working out. And I had booked a yoga room for the day after. It was just a terrible idea doing hot yoga after a hot day in the morning. Nobody wants to get up for that. And so I had to cancel that as well. So $475 spent on activities. I think it was well spent. And that brings our total for experience up to $7,988. And as you can see, what absolutely dominates that, the Olive Ann. $4,420 at the Olive Ann. And so that is one expense. One thing that just happened is that you pay for a room for an athlete to come up. But then what happens is that they ask if they can bring, their dad, their boyfriend. You say, yeah. I am an accommodating host. I will allow you to bring whoever you want. You will have your room. So next year, I got to figure out a way to cut down the Olive Ann hotel bill while still being fair to everybody, and while I still absolutely love the Olive Ann, and I want to be able to send athletes their way. I just think that the group rate might not be able to come out of my pocket year after year. As you can see, so we spent a grand total of $12,059 on the event. And if we look at our income, look at our total loss, $7,317 in total lost income. If it was for the Olivan, the $4,400, we would at least be close, at least relatively closer to breaking even. But with that extra almost $4,500, it's just really far away. If I make just 2 small tweaks, I believe that I could actually get it to be manageable. If I have the Olivan, if I get that under $1,600, $1,000 roughly, and if I double my registration income, I would already be close to breaking even. So I think it's really doable next year. I think I can both break even and make it a better event. So check this out. I spend the same $1,800 on merchandise. I spend the same $2,200 to $2,300 in logistics. But if I change my experience expenses so that I only spend $1,600 on the Olivan, $2,000 on a photographer, and a whole $3,000 on Badman Design trophies, that way I can totally have miniature trophies that almost half the event can take home and have a piece of Grand Forks in their home with them and be really, really special. I also want to add to the activities. I want to do getting out on the Red River would be awesome, to be able to get a boat rental out there. Discretionary food spend. I do want to be able to spend food and ice cream. Somebody said that they would pay $10 for a snow cone, but imagine if I gave them a snow cone for free. They would be so elated to be able to have that happen because it was an absolutely hot, scorching day. So I think that free ice cream would be absolutely awesome. I think that I'm going to spend the same $12,500 next year, but I also want to bring in more from that registration, get the full $5,600 from registration, $7,000, including a $5,000 presenting sponsor, $1,600 in merchandise sales, more or less paying for itself. I believe that's actually slightly negative still on merchandise. It's not a moneymaker. Sponsorship and registration are the only moneymakers. That could get me to $19,000, which would actually see me having a slight gain. I don't think it would actually be at that $6,700 because there's going to be so many more expenses I don't even think about. But having a slight gain would be very nice for next year, or at least not, losing another $7,000. Oh Lord, oh dear, dear, oh dear, oh dear. I really hope my mom doesn't watch this. I mean, it is what it is. Like you can only go after it once. You know what I mean? Like it's better to lose the money than to have not gone after it at all. Now that I actually know what the expense structure looks like, I can come back next year and I can do really well and I can break even while making it a better event as well. So thank you for watching this complete breakdown of all my expenses associated with Street Vault. Yes, I lost a good deal of money, but I learned a lot of things and I hosted an awesome community event that I believe is absolutely worth it on its own. I also believe that I can come back, I can change the revenue structure for next year, and I can absolutely have a great path to breaking even while adding to the event and making it even more awesome. So if you'd like to stay tuned, you can follow at Downtown Street Vault on Instagram. Website is downtownstreetvault.com, and I hope to see you soon.